All right, welcome to the P7 class, and P7 is Advanced Audit and Assurance, and we call it AAA or P7. Nowadays, we call it AAA, but whatever. This is Advanced Audit and Assurance. And first of all, I'll be introducing myself. My name is Rashid Hussain, and I'm teaching this subject from last 8 years. And I also teach the audit and assurance and then this advanced level, advanced audit and assurance. I'm teaching financial reporting as well as strategic business reporting and the strategic business leader as well. And alongside teaching, I have been doing audit and advisory in these years, and I'm still attached to an international firm and also giving trainings related to IFRS and financial reporting framework. So this paper, first of all, is, you can say that if you ask me that how this AAA is, so I'll say that AAA is actually F8 plus SBR. So if you want to pass the audit and assurance, advanced audit and assurance P7 paper, you should know F8. That means the basics of audit. And SBR, you should know the treatment, accounting treatment of all the standards. And when I say all the standards, that means you need to know from IAS 1 to IFRS 16. Although there's no need to have a grip over the calculations, because there's no need to have the calculation in this paper. But you should know the accounting treatments of all the standards. If you are weak in the accounting treatment, if you neglect this SBR, then based on the F8 knowledge, you won't be able to pass this exam. The global result is 30%, like 30%, 31%, sometimes 29%. So you can say, on average, the global result is 30%. And when the global result is 30%, how you can make sure that you are passing it in the first attempt? So you can make sure by knowing the basics of the audit plus strategic business report. Now, the good news for you guys who are taking my classes is that when I'm explaining the topic, even that is being tested in the F8, I'm not going to take anything for granted. I'm not going to take anything for granted. So that means this is a good news for you. For example, we are dealing with the planning area. I'll be starting from the scratch. I'll not assume that you know this area from your F8 exam. When you are dealing with the substantive procedures, I'll not assume that you have done this in the F8 exam. We will be starting from the scratch. And I'll not be assuming that you guys already know this paper. The second good news is that we will be revising the standards as well. We'll be discussing IAS 1 to the IFRS 16, all the main standards. I'll be explaining you the accounting treatments and their audit issues. But remember one thing, remember one thing, that I'm not going to go into detail. I'll only discuss those things which are relevant for the P7 exam. And if there's anything which is unclear, you have to study it yourself. I'll not be answering any question which is related to the standard. Like, for example, if you guys are asking me regarding the treatment, so what is the treatment? I'll not be explaining it to you, because this things should be done by yourself. But the courtesy which I'll be doing is that I'll be explaining you all the standards. But I'm not going to go into the calculations, because why I am actually giving a disclaimer, why I'm telling these things at the start, because over the years I have been teaching this subject, and sometimes, you know, the students comes up with the expectation that, okay, this thing was unclear when I was doing SPR, now I'll be asking this thing from this teacher. No, I'll be explaining you the things which are related to the P7. I'll not be clearing you the concepts which you left unclear when you were dealing with your financial reporting paper or the strategic business reporting. So this is very important to clear you guys at the start of the course, that I'll be explaining you the standards, but the objective is that you know all the things which is related to the paper, and you should know the standards, because if you are unaware of the standards when we'll be doing practice, you will not get anything. So it will be a wise decision. It is a wise decision that you revise these standards. Once we have done in the class, make sure you are doing it yourself as well. So if you want to clear this paper, Advanced Audit and Assurance, in the first attempt, you need to know F8 plus SPR. Now it looks quite easy when I say this thing. Now the question is that why this paper is having 30% on average global result. Why even less than strategic business reporting, which is around 47, even less than strategic business leader, which was supposed to be a very difficult paper when it came, and it is having even 48-49% global result, and this paper is having 30% on average global result. Now, what is the reason behind that? Why 70% of the people are failing every time? The reason is that in this exam, every area has different technicalities. Remember this thing. In P7 exam, in AAA or P7, every area has a different exam approach. Like for example, when you are dealing with the planning stage, and in the planning you will be having audit risk, business risk. So these audit risk and business risk is having a completely different approach. Like 3 to 4 sessions back, there was a student, local student, he called me in the post-result batch, and he said that I want to take the classes. And I asked him, okay, are you a retaker? He said yes. And then I asked that how many attempts you have given so far? He said 14. And I didn't understand. I said, what? He said 14. Like from last 6 to 7 years, he was appearing for the same paper. And I got the students in the past who has given like 10 attempts, 9 attempts, 8 attempts. I'm not actually making a fuss out of it, and not telling you guys like you should become afraid of this exam. The reason why I'm telling you this is when he joined the classes, the guy who was appearing for the 14th time, 15th time, 14, he has given those attempts. And I explained him the first lecture, which was the planning, audit risk and business risk. So he told me, sir, in these 14th attempt, I was actually writing it vice versa. I was writing business risk as audit risk and audit risk as business risk. And then when we moved on to the other areas, in every area he gave me the feedback that he was writing it completely wrong. So when you have actually studied the wrong thing, either from any teacher or from a book, you misunderstood the knowledge, and you didn't actually make it review the answers by someone, like you studied yourself, You didn't practice it, you didn't make your answer checked by anyone, and you directly went in the paper. So you were assuming that you are writing everything right because you think that you have studied the right thing. But in fact, you may be wrong. So you guys are lucky you are taking the classes. So when you're taking the classes, we'll be doing almost 75% of the kit in the class. Now, every question which I'm doing in the class is going to be your assignment. There's no need to mention that this question is your assignment. Every question which we are doing is your assignment directly, and you have to do it yourself. And then you will be sending it to me on my email, and I'll be reviewing your answers and how you are writing. It is very important. It is very essential. Similarly, after the planning, you will be sorry, you'll be moving towards the procedures, audit procedures, substantive procedures. And again, in this area, you will be having standard-wise. You will be having standard-wise procedures. Now, what does it mean, standard-wise procedures? When you are in F8, you are having the procedures for the receivables, for the payables, for the inventory. But here, when it comes to P7, the examiner is going to give you the procedures. Like, for example, the held for sale asset, IFRS 5, and the government grant, IAS 20. So they can ask you, make the procedures for held for sale asset, make the audit procedures for government grant. Okay, and similarly, earning per share, IAS 33. These are the procedures which already came in the exam. So that means when they are asking you the procedures standard wise, so you should know the accounting treatment. So if I say you that this paper is 60 to 70% related to the financial reporting standard, this statement is not wrong. I'm not exaggerating anything. When you'll see the papers, when you'll see the questions, you will see yourself that for this paper, you should know the accounting standards in detail. All right. When you go further, there will be the group audit. Now, the group audit means audit of consolidated financial statements. Now, in order to deal with this area, you should know the complete mechanism of the consolidation and not the F7 level. It should be the SBR level. Like you should know the basic consolidation. You should know the changes in group structure, like the disposal, the four scenarios of the disposal, similarly the step acquisitions. So the group audit. When you move further, there will be the completion and review. Then there will be the audit report. This is exactly the same which you have done in the F8 exam, but the questions will be different. The syllabus and the contents are same, the unmodified report, modified report, unmodified opinion, modified opinion, key audit matters, emphasis of matter paragraph, other matter paragraph. The content is same as F8, but the questions are completely different. So this is the pure audit scenarios or pure audit topics. And then you will be having the ethics and quality control. Again, I can say that 70 to 80% is the same as F8, and then there will be 20% some more things. But the questions again are completely different. Quality control is the new thing, although in F8 nowadays you have the quality control, but that is actually a very minor percentage of it. Then you will be having the other assignments. So this is completely new area, and you have not studied these things. Similarly, the group audit That was not in the F8 exam. Similarly, this completion thing was not in the F8 exam. The other assignments will be having like the PFI, prospective financial information. It will be having due diligence. It will be having the KPIs, key performance indicators. We'll be having social and environmental audit, like performance audits, social and environmental audits, forensic audit, and then there will be some other small topics like, for example, big data, and similarly uh, money laundering, etc. So this is going to be your complete syllabus which you are doing. And you'll be starting with, we'll be doing with the same sequence, because first of all we'll be starting the planning, and then we'll be doing procedures, then we'll be doing group audit, then we'll be doing completion review, and then report, then ethics and quality control, other assignments, and then other topics. And we'll not be doing the practice at the end of the syllabus. Once we are done with each area, directly we'll be doing practice. From where? We'll be doing practice from the Kaplan kit. Kaplan kit should be updated one. And we'll be using the past papers, which you can download from the ACCA website. And sorry, you'll be using my notes. Now, notes are sufficient enough, but still, if you want to study a text, if you are habitual of reading the text, you can read the Kaplan one. So Kaplan kit, past papers, notes, and the text. If you want, it should be the Kaplan one. So these are the study resources. All right, and then let's discuss the paper, which is a very important discussion. So first of all, there are 3 questions in the exam, and all are compulsory. There is no choice. All are compulsory. So the question number 1 is of 50 marks. And then question number 2, 25. And then question number 3, 25. That makes 100. So now I'll tell you the practice of the examiner. So question number 1 is actually coming from planning. And planning, or whether it is individual or group. That means individual audits or group audits, both. And then apart from procedures and ethics. So usually when you see the question number 1, you will see that in all of the question number 1 you are looking at, there will be the audit risk and business risk, sometimes both, sometimes only the audit risk. Audit risk is compulsory, they always give that. Business risk is optional, sometimes skip it, whether it is related to the individual or the group audit. Procedures, usually 2 parts, they give 2 procedures. And the ethics part, which is like 8 to 10 marks. And like, for example, if they are giving both the audit risk, business risk, then the other 2 parts will be procedures and ethics. If they're only giving the audit risk and procedures and ethics, sometimes they include one more part in it, and that is going to be a knowledge-based question. By knowledge based mean they will be testing your knowledge of some area directly. That will be not that is not going to be completely related with the case study. Uh, Knowledge based question, knowledge based part as well. Like for example, what is the auditor's responsibility in relation to the laws and regulations? What is the auditor's responsibility in relation to the fraud? Things like that. Or for example, a part related to that importance of the ethical procedures in the audit, things like that. I'll be telling you uh, in every area that which topics you should learn by heart or you should cram because those topics are expected in the exam. Now, question number 2 and 3, rest of the syllabus. In the question number 2, you can expect the other assignments. You can expect ethics and quality control. And the question number 2 can be from the report. Question number 3, like in this attempt, if I remember, the students told me that again the question number 1 was from planning, and it was having the audit risk, business risk procedures, and ethics. Question number 2 from the ethics and quality control. Now, question number 2 was from the report, and question number 3 was from the ethics and quality control. So usually, and there was the PFI as well in the question number 3, prospective financial information. So you cannot skip any area of the P7 exam because anything can be tested. So anything can be tested in all of these areas, whether it is planning, whether it is procedures, whether group audit, whether completion and review, whether you have the report, whether you have the ethics, the assignments, and small topics. And in these small topics, make sure you are giving consideration to the technical articles which are on the ACCA website. So like the latest technical articles, latest ones. So do not skip those articles. It is for you guys. Like most of the students ask me, sir, will you be teaching us the technical articles? Now the technical articles are not something which is out of the syllabus. But the technical articles are the guidelines of the examiner towards the student. So it is your responsibility to read that. It is for you, not for the teachers. So latest technical articles, you will be giving consideration to that as well. So far we have discussed that this advanced audit and assurance paper requires your basics of the audit paper, which is the FA, but I'm not going to take anything for granted. And the strategic business reporting, which is you should know the accounting treatments of all the standards. Now, as I told you, the good news is that I'll be discussing those standards, and also in my notes, I have given the complete revision of these standards as well. You can use other resources, like if you have some short notes, like my SBR short notes, you can use that as well. But I have already written those things in the P7 notes as well. So you need to focus because the global result is quite low, and how you can make sure that you are passing in the first attempt is to be consistent, to be regular, do not skip the classes, do not miss the classes, and try to understand each and everything. And one more thing, whatever I'm writing on the screen, there is no need to write these things because I'll be sending this to you straight away. So you can, just check these things in your material folder. I'll be making material folder for you guys, and whatever I'm writing on the screen will be there. So there is no need to copy, and there is no need to waste time on writing alongside because that will lose the focus. So you just listen to me what I'm saying. So this papers require consistency. These papers requires focus and determination. Whatever I'm doing in the class, like in terms of practice, all the questions will be your assignment. Make sure you are writing it. Like if you are not writing those questions, I'll not be forcing you because you are professional students. students who are writing it and making it review from me, I can make sure that you're gonna pass in the first attempt. Similarly, the technicalities are very important. In every area, I'll be telling you a different technique, and you should just store that thing permanently in your mind till exams. And look, obviously, this should not be the approach like if we are doing planning and then we move to the next area, you forget the previous one. No, you should retain all those things in your mind, because sometimes the technique is quite similar. So I'll be telling you, look, this technique is quite similar with that area. So if you remember that thing, that will be quite easier for you to understand. And the areas are right in front of you. Similarly, I have the separate notes for planning, separate notes for procedures, separate notes for group audit, separate notes for completion, report, ethics, and other assignments. Uh, my notes are not perfect, although I have tried to write each and everything in it. There may be something which is uh, not a material thing, not a significant thing, but there may be a point which I have skipped, for example. So if I'm telling you that point in the class, then make sure that you are writing it on your notes as well. Because it is not possible that I write each and every word which I know related to P7 in my notes, because if I do this thing, who's going to take the classes from me? So on a lighter note. So this thing is that I cannot write my all the knowledge on the paper. So make sure that you have the notebook right in front of you. If I'm telling an important point, you just try to write that thing in the bullet form, so you can just remember that thing for later later studies. And you can ask me in detail later on, like, sir, you told me this point, I was not actually attentive at that time, things like that. But make sure you are actually writing those things in front of you. Regarding the study resources, just buy yourself a Kaplan kit, which should be updated one, and you should have the hard copy of that, because it will be quite easier for you. Okay, one more thing regarding the computer-based exam. Regarding the computer-based exam, uh, I'm sure all of you guys still have the manual attempt, because uh, in many countries, most of the countries, it is going to be from March 2021. So you still have time you can appear for the manual. And the paper, as I told you, there are 3 questions, and all of the questions are compulsory. So this was the introduction regarding me and the paper and the topics and how we'll be taking taking up the course. And now, if you have any question, you can ask. All right, and let me tell you one more thing, that our class is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So, and the time is 7:30 to onwards. And this onwards is actually, you can say, it's 9 p.m. So it is Pakistan time. And sometimes I'll be taking the recorded class as well. Like sometimes I'll be just giving you the recordings and I'll say that, okay, watch this thing, and you have to watch it. Sometimes I'll be giving you additional practice, and it will be other than the classes. Like if you have taken the classes Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, sometimes I'll be giving you the additional practice sessions, and you have to watch it yourself. So I'll be sharing you the link that, okay, these are the questions, watch it yourself. So obviously, I'm going to teach you, and you have to put your own effort, and then you will be able to pass it in the good marks and in the first attempt.